governance and service delivery. You can follow us on Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, I can see the arrival of the chief guest, and I've been informed that the minister is ably represented by the Minister for Higher Education, Dr. Chrysostom Muyingo, who is going to officiate our opening ceremony. He's arriving, and when he comes in, we shall stand to honor his arrival. And before he takes the seat, we shall all remain standing for the anthems. The Uganda anthem, followed by the East African anthem, Uganda Management Institute anthem, after which we shall have an opening prayer before proceeding with our speeches. And the speeches we have for this opening ceremony will be the chairperson of the Central Organizing Committee, Chair Dr. Santaninas Kasozi Mulindwa, who is also the Substantive Director Programs and Student Affairs here at UMI. We shall also have a speech from the Director General UMI, Dr. James Nkata, after which we shall follow with a speech of the Chairperson Governing Council. Ladies and gentlemen, we all stand and we shall wait until the chief guest takes seat, and then have the anthems, the prayer, and then proceed with the speeches. We wish to welcome you, our chief guest, to Uganda Management Institute once again for our third international conference on governance and service delivery in developing economies. We are glad to have you. Thank you very much, Honorable Muyingo, for joining us this morning. We are just waiting for the others to take position, and then we shall start the anthems. East African anthem. Can we have... Can we use our God-given voices? I'll try. Mungu tuwaomba ujilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu zote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Uzalendo pia mshikamano iwe miji wa umoja wetu, na tulinde amani, mila zetu na desturi zetu. Jumuiya sote tujilinde, tuwajibike, tujimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu yetu. You are my anthem.
For the mighty, who am I to belong? Great men and women, so we strive to be. Vineyard of excellence, that's what you are. Uganda Management Institute, mighty and mightier, UMI, getting stronger, UMI, soaring higher than you've ever been, empowering me to excel. Drawing the future for my motherland, for intergenerational equity, doing better than what we found. Uganda Management Institute, mighty and mightier, UMI, getting stronger, UMI, soaring higher than you've ever been, empowering me to excel. Blessing you in the hand of God, the fountain of knowledge, to nurture you today and forever, so we can resound. Uganda Management Institute, mighty and mightier, UMI, getting stronger, UMI, soaring higher than you've ever been, empowering me to excel.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we thank you for the gift of life. We are gathered here to carry out the responsibilities bestowed on us. We beseech thee for the wisdom, foresight, and courage to transact the business of the Institute in such faithful and fair manner so as to promote its development. We recognize that by diligently carrying out the responsibilities vested on us, we serve our fellow human beings as you would want us to do. We do all this for the glory of your name, and we all say, Amen.
Our chief guest this morning, Minister of State for Higher Education, the Honorable J.C. Muyingo, the representative of the chairperson of the UMI Governing Council, the Right Honorable Margaret Nantongo Ziwa, the Director General, Uganda Management Institute, Dr. James Nkata, the chairperson of the Central Organizing Committee of this international conference, and who doubles as the Director of Programs and Students Affairs, Dr. Satanas Kasozi Mulindwa, the Vice Chair of the Central Organizing Committee, who is also the Director of Finance and Administration and Secretary to Governing Council, Dr. John Nakabago, members of the Governing Council, our distinguished keynote speaker, conference convener and chair scientific committee, distinguished professors, distinguished researchers and academicians, delegates, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Adrian Beinebiabo, and I am the co-MC together with my sister, Dr. Rose Kwatampora Ogutu, and our duty is to steer this conference up to the end. On behalf of the organizing committee, allow me to welcome you to this third international conference on governance and service delivery in developing economies. We want to thank the organizers. We want to thank distinguished delegates for coming to grace this conference. We want to thank our supporters, our funders, and also our development partners for supporting this occasion. I will not take much of your time, but only to receive you, and then we move to the next step. But allow me to do one thing, because we may forget about it, to introduce the person that has started these conferences up to now. Associate Professor Rose Namara Bakenegura, kindly stand up for recognition. She's the brain behind all these conferences, and she's the chief of the Research and Innovation Center, and we want to thank you with your team. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall introduce all the delegates as we get the time, but at this point, allow me to invite the chairperson, Central Organizing Committee, to give his remarks, Chiveria Dr. Satanas Kasozi Mulindwa.
Thank you very much, MC. Our chief guest, Honorable Jesse Muyingo, Minister of State for Higher Education and Sports, representing the Minister of Education and First Lady, Honorable Janet Kataha Museveni, the chairperson of the Governing Council, represented by Right Honorable Dr. Margaret Ziwa, the Director General, Uganda Management Institute, Dr. James Nkata, the Director of Finance and Administration, and also Vice Chair of the Central Organizing Committee, Dr. John Nakabago. Allow me to take advantage of all the other protocols recognized by Adrian, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Organizing Committee of the Third International Conference on Governance and Service Delivery in Developing Economies, I welcome you all. First and foremost, on behalf of the committee, allow me to thank our host, Dr. James Nkata, the Director General of UMI, who gave us the opportunity, support, and resources to organize this conference. It is therefore my pleasure to introduce to you the team that is responsible for your comfort, welfare, and security for the next 3 days of the conference. I begin with, can members come up? I begin with Dr. John Nakabago, Director of Finance and Administration, also acting President of APAM, and the candidate for APAM Presidents come December. Can you stand up for recognition? Please take a note. He's a candidate for APAM President come December. So our delegate from South Africa, Botswana, Malawi, Kenya, take a note. That is Dr. John Nakabago, whom we are presenting at the Uganda chapter of APAM to be the next president of APAM, where he is now in acting capacity. We have Dr. Wilberforce Tuyasingula. Can you come up here for recognition? Dr. Wilberforce Tuyasingula is the convener of this conference. We have Associate Professor Gerard Kagambirwe Karyeija, who is the chairperson of the scientific committee. We have Dr. Lazarus Nabaho, who is the chief rapporteur of this conference. We have Associate Professor Rose Bakanegura Namara, Chief of Institute Research and Innovation Center. They have already talked about her. Can you come up again? She is part of this Central Organizing Committee. We have Dr. Sebastian Bigabwencha, Chairman Construction and Sitting Subcommittee. All this you see is Dr. Sebastian Bigabwencha. I don't know where he is. I think he's still moving up and down. We have Dr. Jennifer Rose Aduo, who is in charge of reception and welfare. We have Dr. Rose Kwatampora, chairperson of finance and resource mobilization. I'm sure our friends from police know her very well. Can you come up, please? We have Dr. Adrian Benebiabo, President of the Alumni and Vice Chair of Resource Mobilization. We have Mr. Jude Tibemanya Remisi, Secretary of the Organizing Committee. We have Madame Christine Narwanga, Assistant Secretary to the Organizing Committee. We have Robert Agot Komakech, who is the Conference Coordinator. We have James Isabidie, Assistant Conference Coordinator. We have John Fisher Balikudembe, Chairperson of Security. I believe we see patrolling and making sure everybody is safe. And IT, we have Mr. Peter Chibazo, who is the Chairperson of Publicity and Communication Committee. So, dear delegates and members, this is the team that has brought us this far. They have prepared their menu. The food is on the table. It is now your opportunity to taste the food from today up to Thursday. And we believe that on Thursday, you'll give us feedback how tasty the food has been or how successful the conference has been. So I wish to thank all of you. So our delegates, please take a note of all these people in front of you. If you have got any challenge, you can approach any one of them in case you need any assistance. So this is the team. Thank you very much. So on that note, allow me to invite our host, who is officially going to welcome all of us to this conference. It is now my honor and privilege to invite Dr. James Nkata, the host to this conference, to make his remarks, and thereafter request him to invite the Chairman General.
Thank you very much, the chairperson of the organizing committee, our chief guest, Honorable John Chrysostom Muyingo, the Minister of State for Higher Education, representing the First Lady and the Minister of Education, Janet Kahara Museveni, our keynote speaker, Professor John Mere Kauzia, the members of the Governing Council of UMI, the theme directors, the conference delegates, our distinguished invited guests, the UMI staff, the invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my singular pleasure and honor to welcome you to this third international conference on governance and service delivery. Allow me to welcome our chief guest, Honorable John Chrysostom Muyingo, a friend of UMI, representing the Honorable Minister of Education and Sports. Thank you for giving us this time and honor. I also wish to welcome our distinguished guests, international presenters, participants, and also our national academicians, presenters, and the participants. On behalf of the organizers, management, and staff of UMI, I commit top quality delivery at this conference, called to answer questions of the day on the conference and service delivery in developing economies. Amidst a very thin and restrictive budget, ladies and gentlemen, UMI has shouldered this commitment to organize this international conference that brings together both academics and practitioners from far and wide to ask questions, especially in the nature and the kind of governance for sustainable service delivery as envisaged in the Millennium Development Goals towards sustainable development. Ladies and gentlemen, we are all aware of the global rapid changes in social, economic, political, and technological environment that have impacted greatly on the efforts to achieve the stated development goals, especially in our developing economies. We, the people in these economies, need to come together, listen to each other, and share our experiences to come up with appropriate common strategies to move along with the rest of the world. These changes are calling for different approaches and practices in the governance of our states and the provision of services. Our countries are in the process of realigning their national development plans and actions to address the realities of today and the possibilities of tomorrow. Each new day, our people are demanding for changes in the governance and the provision of services. The big question is, what mode of governance that promotes effective service delivery to drive our societies to sustainable development as envisaged in the development goals we should adopt? That question needs to be answered. It's our desire as an institute that in this conference, efforts will be made to shed some light to this question. This conference is one of the series of international conferences UMI organizes as a part of the institute agenda of being a research and innovation institute, as well as spearheading the internationalization of training and research. This conference will witness presentations from eminent scholars, researchers, and practitioners of international standing in the area of governance and service delivery. Our keynote speaker today, Professor John Mere Kauzia, is one of the eminent scholars and practitioners in this area. His contribution in this area is known all over the world. We pride in him as our own, being a Ugandan, but most importantly, a former deputy director of this institute. You are welcome back home, Professor Kauzia. It is our sincere belief that the outcomes of this conference will add to the body of knowledge and practices that will inform our next strategic directions in the area of governance and service delivery as we try to achieve the development goals. UMI commits itself to being research-led, and this congregation here is about that mission and the way of life. An academician should divorce, or academicians should divorce themselves from ordinary way of life and have a moment to ask questions about knowledge and create new knowledge, which is what research is all about. I ask the various professionals present in this conference to put to test the research from far and wide so as to bring out their best. Aristotle, the philosopher, says, wisdom is virtuous goal, one who could achieve with effort and diligence. It's not a virtue that appears automatically, nor is it a unification. In the quote above, ladies and gentlemen, your active participation in research and as consumers is what will push the best out of the best here in these people gathered in this place. The international conference is the spirit of our research-led philosophy in the pinnacle of academic excellence. It is the birthing of knowledge. It is the singular time when academic returns to the joys of epistemology, the relationship of mind to reality. Research should be the anchor of teaching. In these days, please, researchers, return to the purity of axiology, metaphysics, epistemology, ethics and ethics, and logic to inform the people that you drink from the spring that you uncover. This conference, like you and I, should be research-led or responsive to research. Here and onwards, you have a license to ask harder questions to every aspect of sustainable development, service delivery from a researched perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, in a bid to achieve excellence in all we do at UMI, we deliberately set out on the path of internationalization. At the basic level, a number of our awards are international accredited. For example, a Master of Public Administration by the ICAPA, a Master's in Business Administration, MBA, which is in the process of being internationally accredited. We also have professional courses being conducted at our professional center. We are internationally accredited by the Institute of Chartered Institute of Public Relations. The program is soon coming. Institute of Procurement, and the process is also soon coming. On our internationalization leg, we have various collaborations, among which are the Asia and APAM, where our candidate is going to contest for the presidency. These collaborations create exposure of our faculty and other staff to see the world beyond the immediate neighborhood. This international conference today is in the spectrum of our internationalization vision. We encourage scholars exchange and partnerships, joint program development across the borders. We believe that knowledge should not be impaired by the north-south borders. The scholars here should be at the forefront of answering the hard political, economic, and environmental questions around technology, energy, human migration, and the food sustainability questions. These are not localized issues, but global headaches that our pursuit for internationalization should find answers. It is important to note, ladies and gentlemen, that the world is currently faced with real extension problems, and only societies with actual thinkers will survive. Civilization only survive millennia because of their thinkers, and I'm proud to have a collection of thinkers here in this congregation. Allow me to thank the organizers of this conference, led by Dr. Kasozi Mulindwa, the convener, Dr. Tuyasingura, and the chairperson of the various committees, the staff of UMI, and the people from various agencies of government for this wonderful conference. Ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Minister, we continue to ask the government to fund research and internationalization of higher learning in this country and make Uganda a hub of knowledge and innovation through research. I welcome you all to this conference for God and my country. Thank you. As a juncture, gentlemen, allow me to invite our chairperson of the Governing Council, being represented by Honorable Dr. Margaret Ziwa, to come and address us.
Thank you very much, our DG, Director General. Allow me to appreciate the Chairman General, Chef Lubanga Francis, for assigning me this noble opportunity to deliver his message. He's with you in spirit, and he welcomes you to Uganda Management Institute. Honorable John Chrysostom Muyingo, representative of the chief guest, Mama Janet Kataha Museveni, the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, Professor John Mere Kauza, our keynote speaker for this conference, and a Professor Extraordinary Stellenbosch University, the Director General of Uganda Management Institute, conference delegates, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Governing Council, management, staff, participants of Uganda Management Institute, I wish to express our utmost gratitude to you, our chief guest, for making time to attend the 3rd International Conference on Governance and Service Delivery in Developing Economies that has grown to be our signature product every after 2 years. We appreciate this particular conference in a special way, considering the past COVID-19 hardships that could not have frustrated us had it not been for the interventions from our mother ministry, sister parastatal bodies, and our alumni. I would like to thank the government of the Republic of Uganda, through you, the Minister of Education, for the guidance and support during the preparation of the conference. As mentioned in our earlier engagements, Uganda Management Institute is committed to the success of this conference and all other programs mandated to us by the government of the Republic of Uganda through your resolute leadership. Honorable Minister, I wish to congratulate you upon successfully controlling the COVID-19 pandemic in your sector. Despite the hosting the highest number of people in your learning institutions, there was minimum fatality and morbidity across our student and teaching community. This guidance you gave us during the COVID-19 pandemic enabled us to save the lives of our learners and staff, preserve the institutional assets, and maintain our image as a beacon of institution management in Uganda and beyond. Uganda Management Institute has continued to comply with the instructions of standard operating procedures, the result being that no infection has been reported at UMI since we reopened. Allow me to welcome and thank in a special way the keynote speaker, Professor John Mere Kauza, who has put aside other assignments at his university to attend to our conference. His presence here and acceptance to participate in the conference speaks volumes about his Pan-Africanism and deep appreciation of the inevitable relationship between academics and the realm of public administration. I'm glad to report to you, sir, that Professor John Mere Kauza is not only just an ordinary Ugandan, but is also a former staff of Uganda Management Institute. He's one of the high-quality public administrators that Uganda Management Institute has prepared and shared with the wider world. After his tour of duty at UMI, Dr. Kauza joined the United Nations Department for Economics and Social Affairs in New York, and later at the Stellenbosch University in South Africa, where he continues to deliver high-quality service. To scholars, politicians, media, and technocrats present, your attendance of this conference is an indicator of the value you attach to the themes selected, and we promise not to disappoint you, especially in dissemination of your ideas to policymakers and technocrats for potential uptake. The knowledge shared here, if remains unused, it is not to be taken by practitioners, it will be a waste. It is therefore the duty of all scholars to convince potential users of research findings to use it in their day-to-day service delivery engagements for the good of humanity. You may share your scientific findings through publications, policy documents, and evidence-driven interventions. Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, the knowledge pool in this conference is compiled by practitioners and academicians, many of them itching to make their scientific presentations during this conference. I thank the scholars in this conference who have conducted studies covering a wide spectrum of the issues affecting governance and service delivery, and for agreeing to share their findings with the whole world through this conference. I wish to emphasize that all the papers presented at this conference have been proven to meet the universal academic standards for scientific evidence through detailed peer review mechanism. I would like to register my appreciation to all the scholars here present for agreeing to align your academic interest towards areas of study that directly impact on the development of our people in the developing world. You realize, ladies and gentlemen, that governance and service delivery encompass almost, if not all, interests of human well-being. A society poorly governed cannot thrive, and a population dissatisfied with public service can hardly be stable. Therefore, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, this conference is addressing a relevant concern of all humanity, and I pray that we address it with all the seriousness it deserves. I wish to end by thanking all of you, but most especially our staff who have participated in the preparation of this conference, and I wish all of us blessings of God to ensure that this conference ends successfully for God and my country. It's my singular honor to invite our chief guest to address us. Honorable Minister, sir.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Margaret Nantongo Ziwa, the chairperson, representing the chairperson of Governing Council of UMI, our friend Professor John Mary Kauza, our keynote speaker for this conference. Please welcome home, welcome back home. Professor Extraordinary Stellenbosch University, the management and the staff of UMI, conference delegates, guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. As I was leaving office this morning, I got bad news that one of our special needs education institution was gutted down by fire, and 11 of our blind students are now dead. Others have sustained serious injuries. I want to ask you from the very beginning that we stand up and observe a minute of silence in remembrance. Thank you. May their soul rest in eternal peace. Sit down, please. I'm very happy to join you this morning as we open the 3rd International Conference on Governance and Sustainable Service. As you have been told, I stand here to represent the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, who was invited to preside over this function. But because of equally important state duties elsewhere, she's found herself unable, and she asked me to be here to join you and carry her message. She sends very warm and prayerful greetings to each and every one of you. For our brothers and sisters from outside Uganda, she wishes you a very wonderful stay in Uganda and a very fruitful conference. By the way, the theme of this year's conference speaks to our National Development Plan. Our National Development Plan focuses on improving service delivery in government. Those of you who have been around these days, you may have seen the Prime Minister all over the country checking on service delivery. Government of Uganda invests money in UMI not only to churn out degrees and other words, but also to ensure that the knowledge generated in this institution shapes the practice of government by generating alternative ideas. I do believe that the conferences like these ones are paramount in ensuring that we continuously dialogue and review our approach to salient issues affecting our society. As government, we are committed to advancing innovations and research that will provide solutions to the dynamic challenges that we face as a country. To this end, we have established an innovation fund which will nurture local generation of translatable research and scalable innovations that address key gaps required to drive our development agenda. I would like to encourage our researchers here to take advantage of this particular grant or fund. Of course, as a scientist, I'm very proud to say that Ugandan scientists have been involved in major projects, all based on research. As we speak now, Kira V is rolling out our first locally manufactured buses. Our scientists have been involved in TB vaccine research. Uganda Virus Research Institute is rolling out innovations that are flying our flag high across the globe. I know that government policies on the economy, poverty alleviation, and wealth creation are all a result of rigorous research and recommendations generated by our social scientists. I call upon you to continue building on this knowledge, as this is the only way Uganda will be able to achieve its ambitious middle-income goals by 2040. My ministry, the Ministry of Education and Sports, is engaged in a sector-wide review and appraisal. The Education Policy Review Commission, led by Honorable Amanya Mushega, requires your research output in order to make informed recommendations for the betterment of our people, for the betterment of our education system. I want to implore members of this audience to take interest in this ongoing process and contribute to the transformation of education in this country. Please, when they invite you for a meeting, please turn up and give in your ideas, because I trust your research ideas will make a very big difference. Dear friends, I would like to challenge you to position the education sector in Uganda as a major export to the region. And it is possible. It has happened in the past. We just need to put a few things. Slowly, Uganda can become both a health tourism and an education tourism hub. This is possible. The quality of education delivered here should continue setting standards for this region as it has been in the past. I implore you to focus not only on expanding access, but also ensuring that we put in place stronger quality assurance mechanisms that will enable the products of our education system to compete or out-compete at the global stage. Let us all work towards becoming a global reference point for strategic sectors like medicine, renewable energy, global waste management, to mention but a few. The social scientists here need to explain the current global trends of cyber corruption, emerging crises in economics, and what the place of Africa shall be in solving these global contentions. I'm very proud that this conference is not limited to UMI, but it is seeking to bring together scholars drawn from across the world. The international aspect is very important for me. It speaks of international collaborations, sharing experiences, and shared challenges. There is no unique problem in the globalized world. The problems of Africa, the problems of Asia, Europe, America may differ in magnitude, but we're similarly challenged by the same problems. A recent example, which is almost on each and every one of you's fingertips, is the conflict in Ukraine, which disrupted energy supply and multiple aspects of all our lives. Even the 1-year-old boy is testing what is going on in Ukraine. This speaks to the dire need to collaboratively solve our problems as citizens of this planet. And researchers have a pivotal role to play in achieving this. Researchers should collaborate and share knowledge, share challenges, and harmonize resources for the good of everybody. I would want to see North-South publication partnership, professor exchanges, and groundbreaking collaborative scientific research to set the pace for the next generation. Ladies and gentlemen, on the core theme of this international conference, sustainable service delivery, we are keen as government of Uganda to hear from the convener on proposals for government to deliver services in both a sustainable and a frugal manner. It's my prayer, ladies and gentlemen, that the presentations here talk of the convergence between exploiting resources for economic growth without endangering our environment. That's very important, and I've put it in bold. COVID taught the world that people can effectively work from home, especially the service industry. Can we draw lessons from this as we discuss sustainable service delivery? On governance, I'm keen to hear from you new developments away from the neoliberalism and the modernist theories that have largely shaped our thinking and practice across the world. Are there mergers of theories for sustainable development? Are these tested and applicable in our different environments? Please reflect on these emerging issues and find practical answers that can be shared to inform policy changes. With these few remarks, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to declare the third edition of the International Conference on Governance and Service Delivery in Developing Economies officially opened. Thank you very much for listening to me, for God and my country.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank the chief guest for that wonderful speech. As per the program, we are supposed to go into taking a group photo and also having break tea. But before we do so, our chief guest, Honorable Minister, I know other people have been introduced to you, but it is our duty to introduce those that were not introduced to you, but it's important that you get to know them as we arrange for the next session. Honorable Minister, others are in the conference booklet, but I'll start with Associate Professor Mary Mohenda Wasasa, who is the Institute Registrar. She's there. Allow me also to introduce Associate Professor Proscovia Namuvir Sentamo, our Head of Quality Assurance. My pleasure also to introduce to you Professor Betty Claire Mubanjizi, the Director of one of the sub-themes, and she's a professor from the distinguished universities in South Africa. I'm sure she has Professor Mubanjizi, the husband. Prof, thank you. They always move together, and that's nice. The Director for Sustainable Development Agenda is Associate Professor Godfrey Asimwe Berindi. Thank you, Prof, for coming. The Theme Director for Human Resource and Performance Management, Savia Mugwanya from Ministry of Public Service. Not yet here, but we believe she'll be coming. She's always part of us. The Theme Director for Education, Leadership and Management, Sister Dr. Kawa Maria Goretti. Not yet here. I don't see a veil anywhere. Theme Director for E-Governance and ICT, Mr. Julius Peter Torach. Theme Director for Anti-Corruption Strategies, Professor Costa Ofisi from Northwest University. I should say he traveled with his wife also, who is also a delegate and a presenter, Dr. Miriam Ofisi. The Theme Director for Finance and Economics Management, Professor Laura Robia. Prof, haven't seen him yet, Director for Operations and Supply Chain Management, Professor Intaa Marcus Ambe. Not yet here, but they will be here fully. Allow me, sir, to introduce the chairpersons. Dr. Stella Choirwe, Chairperson, Public Sector Transformation. Dr. Kenneth Alfred Chiza, Co-Chair, Public Sector Transformation. Dr. Sebastian Bugabwencha, Chair, Sustainable Development Agenda. Dr. Fred Wahitu, Chairperson, Human Resource Performance Management. Fred, not here. Dr. Jennifer Rosa Duo, Chairperson, E-Governance and ICT. She's around because she's in charge of the next step, the welfare aspect. Chair, I had introduced myself, Dr. Adrian Bineviavo, the Chair and Corruption Strategies Theme. Associate Professor Maria Kagwanjere Barfeijo, Chairperson, Education, Leadership and Management. Dr. David Sekamate, Chairperson, Environment and Sustainability and Climate Change. Dr. Sylvester Kugonza, Chairperson, Peace, Security and Stability. Dr. Pade Mugambe, Chairperson, Finance and Economics Management. Dr. Ruka Pros Nagita, Chairperson, Operation and Supply Chain Management. Dr. Innocent Baguma, Coordinator, E-Governance and ICT Sub-Theme. Dr. Michael Chwanuka, Coordinator and Corruption Strategies. Dr. Julieta Twevembire, Coordinator, Education, Leadership and Management. Dr. Rugemoy Wilfred Bongmin, Coordinator, Peace, Security. Dr. Alex Nduhura, Coordinator, Environment, Sustainability and Climate Change. Dr. Joseph Kampu Mure, Coordinator, Finance and Economic Management. This is there. Mr. Joseph Masoro Bufambo, Coordinator, Operation and Supply Chain Management. We had introduced Dr. Rose Kwatampora as person on the Central Organizing Committee. Jude had been introduced and others had been introduced. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to the next session of the photo. We shall request the chief guest and the entire team there to come step ahead for the group photo. The convener, chair scientific committee, our keynote speaker, members of governing council, Chief Eric, and then the theme directors. Theme directors will stand behind, and other members that I've mentioned. Then the high table sits in front. Then we take that photo, then we go and take an entire group photo from outside at the entrance of the Jubilee building. Because of space, all of us cannot be here, but we want the two photos. Theme directors.
As they take the group photo, after our own group photo for all of us here, we shall be directed below this level for the break tea refreshment, and then come back after break tea for the next session. In the meantime, can we have the ushers nearby that will guide the delegates to the venue where we are taking the group photo? We're going to request the photographers also to be quick in the interest of time, and after here we shall all move. So can I request all of us to stand up and move to the new building just behind the tent for a group photo? the team from Webaja Training School, Police Training School, you're most welcome. Yeah, led by the commandant himself and the deputy commandant. We are glad to have you here. You are welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, as you also go for the photo, there is a tent just in front where you will be for the photo. We have our medical team stationed there for supporting and providing services, arranging all issues to do with our health. First aid, we have the doctors and the nurses stationed there to give you the medical support that you may need. So can I request UMI team? I see we are still seated. I can see the coordinators, Dr. Chwebembe and your team. Please join the group photo. Dr. Nura and Haji Gambuuze, please join the group photo. Dr. Luka. Coordinator Lugemoy, Doctor, please join the group photo. DJ, you can be giving us some music as we wait for them. After the group photo, we shall all move for the break tea. Our ushers and the UMI support team will be guiding you to the venue where we are going to break for refreshments, both tea and coffee. And after which we shall quickly come back to proceed with the next half of the program this morning.